Hello everybody, I'm the Trapbox Gamer, and with me is my little brother Carlos. We're playing Minecraft. Now, before I forget, last episode I ended up on a story cliffhanger. To sum it up real quick, is that we've been experiencing some paranormal activities in the house. I try to figure out logically. Now, so far, each paranormal experience, I gave a sound logic to what it could be, with the last couple being more sad and, realistic terms and actual ghost stuff, and I kind of prefer it being ghost stuff. But point is, it's probably because my grandma was starting to have signs of dementia, and I just honestly prefer if it were the ghost. But last episode, I said that the last experience, I was in the kitchen, I was doing dishes when she called out my name. Now, I go to her. Mind you, the kitchen and her room is quite a distance, and she asked me, why did I go into my mom's room? Which confused me greatly because I was in the kitchen all this time doing dishes, and oh, Carlos made his little statue, and it stopped raining when we got to see his statue. Cool. Anyway, what happened was is that I went to her because she called me and she said, "Hey, why did you go into my mom's room?" And I was like, "I did not go into her room. I was in the kitchen." And she says, "No, no, you went in there. You had a light. You entered a room." And I was like, no, I did not. I think I would remember that. Like, that's just not a little thing that I'd forget, because a little thing I would forget is if I said, "Oh, thank you," or "sorry," or something like little things I would say constantly. That is something I would forget because I do it, constantly. But entering somebody's room with a light is something I don't do commonly. I would have noticed if I'd done that. So I am highly concerned because either A, again, like I said, she's showing signs of dementia, and I'm not exactly I was not emotionally ready for that outcome. Or B, she saw something. And I know what you're thinking. It's most likely A. It's probably A, or it's probably something close to A. But that don't make it better. Now, does it? But I was thinking, what if it's B? What if she did see something that looked like me enter my mom's room? So I decided to do what every horror movie character does when some scary stuff happens. The same thing that I scream at the screen every time I see it happens. I decided to go investigate alone because I was the only able body around the house at the time. Which, you know, if this was a horror movie, chances are I'm safe for quite some time. I don't think I'd be the first one to get killed first. I think I'd be like maybe midpoint at best, probably, hopefully. But point is that if this were going on horror movie logic, I just did the one thing that I screamed at the screen that you shouldn't do, and that's go investigate. So I had to go into my mom's room. Now, her room, her light doesn't work too well. The light switch has been busted for quite some time. So what you got to do is that you got to go halfway through her room at her desk and turn on the light manually. Mind you, I'm already thinking that there's something weird in this room, so I'm not liking this idea. So I arm myself with this. I don't know what it's called. It looks like a tiny crowbar, but I was told it was called a nail hammer, which in the last episode I said that's kind of a dumb name because you don't really need you don't need to specify what you do with a hammer. They hammer in nails, so it's like, why do you call it that? I mean, it don't even look like a hammer. Like I said, it looks like a tiny crow. Point is, I'm rambling. I grab it. I have no flashlight because well, the doppelganger me took the only light of the house, which is no, we don't have lights. We don't have lights like that. I mean, I think after that point for Christmas, I had a headlight, but that was after Christmas. This was way before Christmas. So I go in, turn on the light, and I'm looking around. Arm up, ready to smack. I guess I'm ready to hit myself. And I'm just looking now. My mom's room's not big, but there's some places that I used to hide in when I was a kid when we would play hide and seek. So I was like, if this is me, where would I hide? Under the bed, left side of the closet, right side of the closet. That's as much as I can hide. That's all the hiding places that I know of. So I check under the bed. First thing to do, because, if it's not there, then, well, yeah, at least I got the one hiding spot that would kind of leave me open out of the way. And then I went with the right side of the closet because it's closest to the door. Then I looked towards the left side of the closet because, it's literally just looking right and left. Nothing. And I'm like, I don't like the feeling that I'm getting. I am positive it's just me being paranoid because of what I've just heard. But I'm not liking the feel. It's not giving me a good vibe. So I'm just standing there trying to figure this out because I'm positive. I'm 100% positive that it's probably just something related to A at this point. However, I still don't want it being B. I know what a doppelganger is. I hate that I feel like because I know that makes the situation worse. If this were just some random moment where I didn't know what a doppelganger was, I could be all like, okay, it could be her just tired. But arguably that could have been a better explanation. But the thing is I didn't want to leave it a chance because I get the feeling that if I did, it'd be a bad thing. So I'm looking around, tiny little crowbar in hand, not sure what to expect. Like, I went in there a little confident because it's me. It's just a mimic of me. I could beat me. But then it's not showing up, and it's like, oh. Well, this is awkward. I'm not a big fan of how she said it was holding a light. I am not a fan of that symbolism. Well, after a few more minutes of nothingness, family comes home. And I'm like, okay. I don't know if I should tell them this because they probably get the same conclusion I came with option A, and I don't want them to feel that. But at the same time, it's like, I really don't want you guys sleeping in here and there be like something in here. And then I realized, it's probably best I just don't mention it. I'll keep my ear out. Less power that way. Like, I believe it's weak because it took my shape. So let's just believe in that and he'll leave on its own. Possibly, probably, hopefully. So I go back to my room. I put back the little nail hammer thing, a little tiny crossbow thing, and I pretended nothing happened. Nothing weird happened. And that lasted all for 1 minute. Because Grandma said the same thing to Mom, asking why I went into the room with light. Like, not because she saw it again, but she wants an answer for why I did it. So she asked me why I did it. I'm like, I'm going to tell you, I did not do that. I did not do that at all. I was in the kitchen doing dishes when she told me that. And that scared the heck out of me. Like, you know what a doppelganger is, Ma? It ain't something pretty. It ain't something nice. Typically, what I heard is that they don't go after the people you like. They go after you. So I'm kind of confused why she saw my doppelganger and I didn't. Like, that makes me a little more concerned because, okay, I have a thing where I'm positive I could have a chance at survival when it comes to horror. When you go and target my family, I get a little more creeped out and more protective. So, yeah. Another incident that happened, and again, this I feel is a little explainable because I feel like I could replicate this. It's just with all the talk of ghost stuff popping up, it gives you that placebo effect. Like you're a little tense, you're a little panicky, you're a little scared. It's kind of understandable if you kind of overreact to things. So I was leaving my room, and I felt something behind me. So I turned around, and it looked like a light orb flew down. Now, my logic with this is that the light just messed with my eyes, because with how I turned around, the light was literally in my eyes. So I'm just going to assume that was just a light. Why I felt the need to turn around, however, I'm going to bank it's because I've been feeling a little paranoid due to all the ghost talk. It's not the first time that I got a little too paranoid when ghosts were involved. Or at least a subject of ghosts. When I was a kid, or when I was not a kid, I was probably 12 or 13, somewhere around that time of age, I was starting to get into horror games. One of the horror games that I first looked up on YouTube was Fear. Now, I was at my grandpa's place when this happened. I was vacuuming. I just watched a bunch of Fear videos. So, his hallway leads to several rooms in the house. Two are guest rooms. The one on the far right is his room, and the room exactly down the hall, just right next to his room, straight ahead, would be the bathroom. Now, when I was vacuuming this hall, the door to the bathroom was closed. And then, as I was getting halfway through, the bathroom door opened up on me. And you can imagine how well I took that. Now, the thing is that there's a logical explanation to it. So the window to the bathroom is open, and the bathroom lock don't lock to right. So when the window's open, it pushes the door open. Kid me, teen me did not know that. So imagine you're watching a bunch of ghost videos, specifically one where there's an invisible ghost going after the main character, and then you saw that. Nah, that slightly traumatized me a bit. Unfortunately, there is an actual ghost story that involves my grandpa's place. So, I'm not entirely sure the backstory to this. And to be frank, I honestly just avoid this when I can. So, my grandpa's wife, legally married, love her. I really do. She has a bunch of kids. One of those kids, sadly, is not with us anymore. Died real young. Well, one day I'm just hanging out with her son. This is my uncle, well, legally my uncle, but he's like 12 years younger than me. We're just hanging out, relaxing, playing on the computer, nice and easy. She's in the kitchen, and I hear her just like talking to somebody, and I'm like, who you talking to? Because I don't see a phone in her hand, and she's like, oh, my baby. And I'm like, your baby? He's right here. And she's like, no, one of my first babies. And I'm like, your first babies? And she was like, yeah, sometimes he likes to come and play with me when... I don't know what else she said. It's been a while, but it's like, essentially, she pops up every now and then, and I love reconnecting. It's nice to see him, and I'm like, can you explain just a little more, like, how do you know he's around? And she points to a cup, a mug on a wooden, I don't know what you call it, a shelf, a wooden shelf. It pulls out. I think that's what it's called, maybe. It's a not slippery shelf. It's not one of those shelves that move around. No, it's just a stationary shelf. No magnets, not one whatsoever. And she's pointing at a mug that, I kid you not, is moving on its own, rotating in circles. And I'm like, okay. How long has this been going on for? That's my thoughts. I didn't ask her. I was just a little too shocked at that. And she was like, don't worry about him. He's nice. He's nice. And I'm like, okay. Okay, whatever you say. I'll trust you. I'll trust you. Please be accurate. Please be accurate. Now, the reason why I'm taking more of her trust is because this lady is super religious. Anything that looks even remotely satanic, she will get defensive. So when she's acting like this, it's like, I could trust her if she's calm. I'm not liking it, but I could trust her when she's calm. If she weren't calm, then I'd be a little worried. But no, she's cool with it. She's kind of cool with it, which, it's kind of upsetting when she's cool with it and I'm just seeing it. It's like, I'm seeing this. I'm looking at this. So I do what I thought was a smart idea and just like stay out of the room and just let them have their moment. I'm not gonna deal with that. I'm just gonna chill out. I wish that were the only moment that ever happened, but no. So, same uncle, same place. We have a younger cousin with us. We're playing hide and seek. I'm looking around for these guys. Now, it's not a big house, but if you know where to hide places, you know where to hide places. So, I'm looking around. One of the rooms' light is clearly on. So I go in there thinking that, oh, they hid in here. I'm looking for them because no other place they could be that they could hide. And after a few minutes, I'm like, oh, okay, nobody's in here. So I go back down the hall, and then I see them at the end of the hall. I'm like, there you are. And they're like, yeah, what took you so long? And I was like, I was looking for you in here. I thought you went in here. Now, at the time, this is what they said. They said, oh, yeah, we went in there, but we snuck around through the closet because I know the closet could open up. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. I really wish they left it at that. I really wish they left it at that. They did not leave it at that for long. Because after a bit, I think it was my turn to seek them again. I turned off the light to the room. And I was kind of I was trying to bait them out. That's what I was trying to do. So I would turn off the light, wait down the hall, wait until I heard the light click back on, and then try to catch them in the act. Only this time, I caught them, but cousin was not near that room, and my young uncle was also not near that room. They were completely opposite directions again, and I'm like, who's messing with the light then? And that's when they reveal, hey, yeah, that's wasn't us to begin with. And then my uncle's all like, I think that's just my little brother. And I'm like, you... Well, I guess he says little brother because the spirit's young, but older brother, but I'm like, so the first time, that was him. And it's like, yeah. And I'm like, you kids know I don't do ghosts. Why didn't you just say you were messing with me? And they respond with that, we were shocked you believe it the first time. We didn't think you were going to fall for it again. And I'm like, I would have fallen for it again because that makes sense. That makes sense. But then you have to tell me this, so I am avoiding that room like the plague. And I'm like, let's go outside and play. Let's go outside and play. I ain't dealing with this. Anthony could deal with a lot, but ghost is his limits. I don't want to deal with no ghost. I don't care if this was a friendly ghost. I'd rather not deal with that ghost. I mean, yeah, it could have been a whole lot worse, but I'm not mentally prepared for this. Now, one thing that I grew up with And I guess it did. Well, okay. I grew up with is a strong term. I guess when I started becoming a teenager, I started having some weird dreams. And before anyone makes any joke, no, it's not the weird dreams you typically get as a teenager. I got dreams where I kind of saw future events. Nothing ever, nothing ever like life changing or anything. Just like meeting somebody, a conversation, things like that. So yeah, it was that kind of thing. I tend to get very nervous whenever I have a nightmare now because I realize that. And to give you an example of what I was talking about, well, one time I was having a dream. I was telling my mom about it because she was involved, and I was gonna tell her that I was in her room talking to her with some guy. And I paused at that because in the dream, the current guy she was with, it was not him, and I don't want to cause tension. It was like, yeah, it was him. We were having a conversation just like this, but that wasn't the case. Fast forward a while later, like a long while later, I'm going to her room. I'm going to talk to her about something, and then I pause because she's sitting where she was sitting in the dream. And the guy that I saw in my dream was sitting there too. That was my stepdad. And my brain froze. Was like, there's no way. There is no way. Because I never met this guy, like, before, ever. I never saw him in my entire life up until recently. So there's no way that I could have a dream years prior to actually meeting the guy. That's probably the best example I could give because the rest of the examples are just boring. Like, they're just like conversations. Granted, there was this one time. There was this one time I had a dream about school. Now, in school, this was my senior year, I was in a food science class, which was a glorified home ec class. And I will die on that. I will die on that hill. The group I was with was mainly a bunch of girls. So I really didn't want to say anything stupid and get them all angry at me because I know that I say stupid stuff sometimes and I don't know if it's funny stupid or if it's like annoying stupid, so I had to be a little careful. Well, in this dream, I asked one of them a somewhat sensitive subject, not out of malice, but out of general concern, and that lit up a storm in the dream. It wasn't just one of them that got on me, it was all three of them, and I was just there in the dream panicking because I was like, I was just generally concerned for you, and I was given a lot of attitude for it. Now, a couple days later, I'm in the same class. I'm sitting exactly where I am for the dream. Now, the question pops up in my head because they're talking about something. And again, I don't mean to eavesdrop, but they're literally right there talking in my ear. And I'm a little concerned about the subject. So I want to ask them, but then I remember the dream. I'm like, I'm not going to ask them. I'm going to be smart. And this is a rule of thumb. So unless somebody is, talking to you about their issues, don't get involved. That's my little bit of advice is that if someone's talking to you and they're talking to you directly about something that's bothered them, get involved. But if they're not, they're just like talking next to you, don't get involved. I know that if you're friendly, if you want to help, I get that you do want to help. Trust me, I'm there. But you gotta know that some people don't like it if you like try to butt in or if you try to help without them asking because they take it as being rude. They take it as it being offensive or just like you meddling. So that was my takeaway from the dreams. Like, hey, your heart's in the right place, but you just gotta avoid, asking the dumb thing. Be concerned. If it gets worse, then go to somebody. To be fair, it wasn't. It wasn't a bad thing. It was just like I just noticed that they were stressed out about it, and I wanted to help because that's kind of who I am. I just wanted to give a little hand, but Dream kind of gave me a warning on how that was going to turn out, and I don't think it was because I asked the question. I think it's just that they were not in a good place, and me asking it was just like the thing that triggered them. So yeah, I kind of like the dream powers just a bit sometimes. However, that makes every nightmare more horrifying because I'm like, am I just having a nightmare or am I legitimately predicting something that's going to happen in the future? Which, one of the nightmares I had, I was in my room. It was late at night, in the dream. I know it was late at night. I got up and I looked out my window. Now, outside my window is a field. It's a barren field, granted, but it's still a field. So, I looked out said window and I saw this big monstrosity just like walking around. And then as soon as I saw it, it started moving fast, like faster than something that size should be. And I'm like, back away from the window, back away from the window. If probably didn't even notice me. Which, once I had that thought, I just felt it like coming towards my window because I was thinking, I'm not safe here. That thing's big, it crashed through the window. I'm not safe here. And then I woke up as soon as it got to the window. I'm like, is that a dream? Please just be a nightmare and not me predicting something from the future because that's gonna be a very scary future. Funny enough, a couple days later, I woke up in the middle of the night. And then I remembered my dream. And instead of looking out the window, I stayed in bed. I was like, no. My philosophy is that if I don't go poke the bear, the bear won't poke me. So, yeah. Now, a funny example is once I had a dream that everything was just pitch black, but I was hearing a conversation. And in this dream, I realized who the voices were. It was my aunt and one of my cousins. But everything was pitch black. Fast forward, I don't know how long, but we went on a trip. I forgot where. But I wasn't feeling too good on the trip. So I'm just laying my head down on the table, closing my eyes, trying to feel better. And then I hear their conversation. And then I realize why the dream was in complete blackness. It's because I heard their conversation in my dreams, but in real life, my eyes were closed. So, in this little prediction, I was dreaming that I was just literally resting my eyes as they're talking, and it's like, that was a prediction. It's like, oh, okay, that that makes sense. It's kind of funny. Other than that, I don't really have any more interesting examples to give. I think those are the main ones I could think of. Now, there is another dream that I had that I would say creeped me out. And the reason why it creeps me out is because this is a reoccurring dream. This happened a couple times, and I'm not entirely sure what it means. It's just I'm not entirely happy with it because it's just bizarre, it's creepy, it's weird, and I don't know what's going on. But we are very close to the end of the video, and I can't sum it up within the time that we have. Ooh, nice, Carlos. So, with that being said, I think I'm going to call this video quits. We'll pick up next time. I don't think we're going to be back in this world. I think we might change the next world. Probably. I'm trying to remember. I don't know. I think we actually might end the series with this area. Which, sadly to say, is that we couldn't get it back because updates said nah. But anyway, with that being said, thanks for watching, everybody. I'll see you next time. Take care. Please like and subscribe, and have a great day.